This documentary is a hypothetical educational illustration created for sophisticated audiences. It explores how different financial architectures may influence liquidity, compounding, tax treatment, collateral access, debt usage, retirement income, and estate outcomes over time. Actual product mechanics, policy performance, loan treatment, insurance charges, underwriting eligibility, credit access, real estate yields, taxes, appreciation, and business outcomes vary by structure, market conditions, state law, and individual circumstances. This is not tax, legal, investment, accounting, or individualized financial advice. All strategies shown require review by appropriate licensed professionals. There comes a point in life where the question is no longer whether you can earn money. The question becomes whether you understand how money behaves once you've earned it. For many high-income families, the difference between a good life and a legendary financial life is not discipline. It is not intelligence. It is not work ethic. It is not even income. It is architecture, the machinery, the invisible design, the system beneath the system. And over decades, that design can quietly create one of the largest wealth gaps a family will ever experience. Not because one person worked harder than the other, but because one person's money traveled through a different machine. Dr. John and Dr. Patel begin in almost the same place. They are both 35. They are both newly successful physicians. They both earn exactly $400,000 a year. Their wives each earn $600,000 a year. They both intend to work for 30 years, retiring at age 65. And neither one of them dreams of retiring into a recliner in front of a television. They want adventure. They want freedom. They want meaning. If you're a physician watching this film, let's start with a simple question. Imagine you are 35 years old. You earn $400,000 a year. You plan to work 30 years. You live comfortably, but responsibly. You save consistently. If you follow the traditional path, saving diligently and investing conservatively, how much wealth do you expect to have when you retire? $5 million? $10 million? Maybe 15? Now let's run an experiment. This is a story about what happens when two equally capable men route the same earned income through radically different financial architecture. Dr. John floods his favorite bank with $400,000 a year, removes $360,000 for living expenses, and leaves $40,000 behind to accumulate at 4% annually. Dr. Patel also places his full $400,000 a year into his chosen structure before removing $360,000 for living costs. But Dr. Patel's father was a successful life insurance salesman. He built an honest life selling whole life insurance, not for death benefit first, but for liquidity, purchasing power, and dividends. Over time, Dr. Patel upgrades that philosophy. He moves from the old whole life framework to a mutual company-sponsored indexed universal life policy designed for accumulation. His logic is simple. The strategy remains the same, but the potential returns are better, the liquidity is broader, and the account mechanics are stronger. Most importantly, in the logic of this documentary, his interest lands on the total accumulated account value. That means prior premiums paid, plus prior credited interest, continue forming the compounding base. That differs sharply from Dr. John, who effectively leaves only the idle residual balance in the bank to grow. This is the invisible difference. One man is earning 4% on a much smaller retained balance. The other is earning 4% on a much larger account value machine. And in this film, that difference becomes everything. Both doctors also buy and live in a $2 million home. Each uses a $1.6 million mortgage. And in this story, each mortgage is set up with interest-only payments that would total another $1.6 million over the next 30 years if carried the full distance. Both families also send both daughters to private schools. Their lifestyles are real, their obligations are real, their incomes are real, and the clock is now running. After the first 5 years, Dr. John has done exactly what he set out to do. He placed his doctor income into the bank each year. He withdrew $360,000 each year for the cost of living. He allowed the residual accumulation to grow. At age 40, Dr. John has contributed a total of $200,000 in retained capital. At 4% compounding interest, he has earned $16,650. His account is now worth $216,650. This is respectable, disciplined, traditional, and entirely understandable. Dr. Patel's machine behaves very differently. At age 40, in this story, he has deposited a total of $2 million into his policy structure. At 4%, that larger account value produces $253,000 of interest. That brings his total account value to $2,253,000. And here is where the story changes. He does not simply admire the growth, he uses it. He takes the $253,000 out as a tax-free interest loan from his policy. Then he deploys it. Not on lifestyle, not on watches, not on cars, not on waste. He purchases two $400,000 short-term rental properties. Each one yields 10% gross rental income. He uses 30% down payments, or $120,000 each, for a total of $240,000 down. That leaves mortgages of $280,000 on each property. Then, with the remaining $13,000, he invests in Bitcoin at $5,000. The point is not whether every viewer would make that same choice. The point is that Dr. Patel now has liquidity. And because he has liquidity, he has optionality. At age 45, Dr. John has now contributed $400,000 in principal over 10 years. His 4% growth has generated $80,245 in interest. That brings his total investment account to $480,245. Meanwhile, Laura pays the $300,000 down payment on the new $1 million vacation home. Their remaining mortgage on that second property is $700,000. If they keep that structure in place long enough, it will cost them another $700,000 in interest-only payments, unless they pay it off early. This is not tragedy. This is what millions of successful families do. But it is also what begins separating rich on paper from wealth engineered with precision. At age 45, just 10 years into his career, Dr. Patel's machine is now visibly operating at a different scale. He has contributed $4 million and earned $994,500 of 4% compounded interest on that much larger account value. His new total account value is $4,994,000. But that's not all. The two short-term rentals he bought 5 years earlier have produced an additional $480,000 in tax-free rental income. And the properties themselves have appreciated at a 5% annual compounding rate, bringing each one to approximately $460,000 in resale value. At this point, he owes only about $260,000 on each of those first two rentals. Now the machine gets more aggressive. He takes the $480,000 of rental income and uses it to pay down 48% of the new $1 million vacation home. That leaves only a $520,000 mortgage on the vacation property, costing them another $520,000 in interest-only payments, if not retired earlier. Then he takes the $994,500 of interest earned as a tax-free policy loan and moves aggressively into more real estate. He buys 8 more short-term rental properties, each priced at $500,000, each yielding 10% annually, each with a 30% down payment of $150,000. That creates 8 mortgages of $350,000 each. He is now in debt to $350,000 times 8 equals $2,800,000, plus $520,000 from the first 2 property structure, plus another $520,000 from the vacation home, which brings his stated total debt obligation to $3,840,000. And because Dr. Patel is still Dr. Patel, he takes the remaining $95,000 and buys silver coins at $10 an ounce. The machine is not just compounding, it is spilling opportunity. 15 years into the story, Dr. John has done many things right. He has saved. He has maintained his career. He has kept his household stable. His principal contribution is now $600,000. At 4% compounding, he has earned another $200,945, bringing his total account value to $800,945. His home has appreciated beautifully. The original $2 million house is now worth $4.2 million after 15 years of 5% growth. His vacation home has appreciated over its 5-year holding period to roughly $1,275,000. His total real estate appreciation value is now $2,433,800. And yet, the debt story has taken a bite. He takes a home equity line of credit to pay both mortgages off in full, saving over $1.5 million in future interest-only payments. But now they carry a $2.4 million fixed-rate loan at 6%, costing roughly $146,000 per year in fixed interest. That arrangement is better than the original mortgage structure, but the cost of earlier debt is already real. They have already paid $847,000 in interest-only payments over 15 years on the original $2 million mortgage, plus $225,000 on the $700,000 vacation home mortgage. That is more than $1,072,000 of forever lost purchasing power. And in this story, that is bad debt, not good debt. Because unlike Dr. Patel's debt, this debt was not consistently attached to productive rental machinery. Now we arrive at the point in the story where Dr. Patel stops looking merely smart and starts looking structurally dangerous. By age 50, 15 years into his career, he has contributed $6 million into his policy and earned $2.33 million of interest. That brings his total account value to $8.33 million. And because his confidence has been rewarded, his appetite for productive real estate has increased. He takes a tax-free loan of $2.33 million against his life insurance policy and uses it as a 30% down payment on a commercial real estate property, a strip mall, worth $7.77 million. This strip mall is expected to yield 10% annually. At this point, his debt picture is roughly $2 million tied to short-term rental homes, $5.4 million on the strip mall, $1.5 million on his personal home and vacation property. That brings his total debt to $8.9 million at a 5% mortgage rate. His vacation home is now around $1.3 million. His original home is around $4.2 million. He takes a home equity loan against his personal properties and pays off the remaining $1.8 million on those mortgages, saving approximately $900,000 in future interest payments. His total debt load is now stated as $10.7 million, but over the same 5-year period, he has also earned $1.5 million of rental income, $828,000 of rental appreciation, and paid $675,000 in mortgage payments. He likes the short-term rental model so much that he uses the additional $1.5 million of rental income to buy 10 more rental properties, each priced at $500,000, each with 30% down. He now owns 18 short-term rentals, valued at approximately $8.8 million, all producing roughly 10% annual gross rental income, while appreciating at around 5% per year. His total debt load is now $14.2 million at 5%, attached to a 10% yielding real estate machine with appreciating collateral. This is the moment in the documentary where the audience begins to understand. His debt is large, but it is not lazy debt. It is weaponized debt. At age 55, Dr. John is now entering the final 10 years of his medical career. He has only a decade left to build the retirement income that will replace his active work. His principal contribution is now $800,000. His 4% annual compounding has produced $391,000 of interest. His total retirement account stands at $1,191,000. His real estate is worth more than $5.5 million. The properties continue appreciating at 5%, but his $2.4 million loan at 6% continues costing him. Over the last 5 years, they have spent or lost another $720,000 in interest-only payments on the home equity borrowing. Even so, appreciation has continued, and the total real estate value has now reached roughly $7 million, though he still owes $2.4 million. He is doing well. His daughters are now in college, studying to become doctors like him. He is still successful, still respectable, still capable. But the financial machine beneath his life is not expanding his reach the way Patel's machine is. At age 55, Patel's machine is almost difficult to describe without sounding exaggerated. But the story's lesson is not that every man should build a dealership empire. The lesson is that capital confidence compounds behavior. By age 55, Dr. Patel has contributed $8 million and earned another $4.4 million of 4% compounding interest over the last 5 years. His total debt load is $14.2 million at 5%, attached to properties yielding 10% and appreciating around 5%. Before spending the latest $4.4 million of interest, he counts his rental income for the same period, another $4.4 million of tax-free income. His 18 houses have appreciated to about $640,000 each. His strip mall has appreciated around $2.1 million. Its income is another $2.1 million. His silver coins, bought at $10 an ounce, are now worth $40 an ounce, and his position is worth about $380,000. He has also paid almost $4 million in short-term rental and commercial real estate mortgages over the last 5 years. So depending on whether he pulls lines of credit against appreciation, he now has either about $8.7 million or as much as $13.2 million to reinvest. He pushes further and ends up with $13.28 million ready to invest. His current debt load is only $12.9 million, and the banks are now openly impressed. His payment history is strong. His debt service history is strong. His maturity is strong. He is now preferred. Special lines of credit are available to him because lenders trust him. Then opportunity strikes. A famous football player turned car dealership owner has to liquidate. Prestige wasn't enough. Management failed. The business must be sold at a steep discount. Cash only, no financing. Patel buys the car dealership building and parking lot for a little over $5 million. Then he buys 275 cars at an average cost of $30,000 each. The intended resale price is $50,000 each. Operating expenses will be another $3.5 million. His target is to sell at least 100 cars a month, every month, generating $24 million of annual sales, minus around $3.4 million in operating costs. He trains his leadership team obsessively. Sales, service, self-development, books, discipline, excellence. Even when there is no sale to make, he insists everyone be treated like royalty. The result? He hits his first-year goals and earns an additional $20.5 million. He does not pay much in taxes because he keeps much of the money wrapped inside the dealership business and immediately starts looking for the next opportunity. He wants the region. He wants scale. He wants more. At age 60, Dr. John is only 5 years away from retirement. And then something significant happens. Laura's sole surviving parent, Ted, passes away. The family receives a $3 million tax-free inheritance. They use most of it to pay off both homes entirely. That leaves them with only an extra $600,000, which Dr. John contributes into his retirement account. The good news is undeniable. Paying off the remaining $2.5 million of 6% home equity debt saves John and Laura more than $720,000 in interest-only payments during the last 5 years. Their real estate appreciates another $1.5 million, bringing the total value of both paid-for properties to about $7 million. That feels good, and it should. On paper, Dr. John has now contributed $1.2 million in principal savings over the full career period to date, plus the $600,000 inheritance remainder, bringing his total contributions to $1.8 million. At a 4% compounding rate, he has earned another $390,000, bringing his total retirement account value to roughly $2.2 million. His girls were fortunate enough to get undergraduate scholarships and are using federal student loans for medical school. So for the moment, John and Laura are off the hook. They are fine, successful, stable, but still small compared to what Patel's machine is now doing. At age 60, Dr. Patel's life is no longer simply a doctor who invested well. He is now a physician with a global capital platform. He has contributed $10 million to his life insurance policy. He continues receiving full 4% growth on the total account value, regardless of the many tax-free loans he has taken in the past. His interest credits over the last 5 years amount to another $7.3 million, bringing his total account value to $17.3 million. He immediately takes that $7.3 million of interest as another tax-free loan and purchases a luxury resort in Cancun, Mexico, along with an additional $15 million of outstanding debt. It is a great purchase because the gross yield is almost 20%, roughly twice as high as his earlier short-term rentals. His dealership has also been doing exceptionally well, producing almost $100 million in gross sales over the last 5 years. But instead of buying more dealerships, he pivots. Time is now more valuable than pure volume. He buys more luxury resorts. One in Costa Rica, one in Italy, one in Australia, and he even purchases one in India, his homeland, though for some reason he doesn't count that one in the headline total. Traveling and creating beautiful memories with his daughters, wife, close family and friends becomes a much higher priority.